Lin Zhao was standing in the cafeteria, watching a little tea all calm. The host's voice covered the noise of conversations and the coffee machine. Scientists warn about a rare melting of the polar ice caps. Satellite images revealed a 30% reduction in just 72 hours. This was something humanity had never witnessed before. But the businessman next to him laughs and says it's just more alarmism about this climate change stuff. Those day reporters said anything just to get audience. The girl next to him stirring her coffee says that's right. In 2012, it was the whole Mayan calendar thing. In 2017, the meteor that passed I don't know how many kilometers away. Every time there was some kind of disaster supposedly on its way. It was the same lies just to get views, only the timing changed. But Lin Zhao, right behind them, tightens his grip on the coffee cup while diving into memories. Not of the past, but of a future he had already lived. A future in which these same voices that doubted all of this became screams of despair. Not caring much, he tells them they'd better be more careful. The world could plunge into chaos faster than they imagined. The businessman rolls his eyes, thinking the kid really is an idiot. And another woman from the side, over her glasses, asks if he really believes in that apocalypse nonsense, and says it's even cute how innocent he is. But then our protagonist's memories go to the first day, when the waters flooded the streets of Shanghai. Buildings collapsed over the floods, and the first king-level monster emerged from the depths. The massive size of the creature cast a shadow over the entire financial district. The screams and the frantic fight for higher ground. The world was overtaken by a taste of salt and fear. He then says to himself that it's funny to be called innocent. He stands up, leaves some money beside the coffee, and says he's heading out. The woman, thinking she offended him, asks if he felt offended and why he's in such a hurry. But he only replies that he's going to his apartment because he needs to prepare. The curious woman asks where he lives with a cheeky little smile. That's when he tells her he lives at Palace 104. Her eyes instantly light up. That's the biggest and most luxurious building in the neighborhood. She grabs her things right away, saying she works with interior design. And considering how luxurious that place is, it would be very interesting if she could see all the architecture inside his home. But Lin Zhao just shakes his head and says there are more important things than giving her a tour. Then waves goodbye, leaving her all confused, man. Outside, he looks up and sees the clear sky of Shanghai. No sign of the devastation that was coming. Anyone there at that moment wouldn't believe what it would be like very soon. 2 years surviving in the flood apocalypse. The betrayal he suffered from Xiao King and the death at the hands of Evil Z. All of that was still yet to happen. But it was already engraved in his memory. And this time, he'd be ready. Our boy walks across the marble lobby of Palace 64 like he owns the place. That building had reinforced steel beams and a design made entirely for catastrophe resistance. It was less of a building and more like a luxurious fortress. As soon as Lin Zhao enters, the naughty girls can't help but smile at him. And while he walks by, he's just thinking about how this place became one of humanity's last safe havens. He enters the elevator, which silently rises to the 99th floor. The titanium doors open to what should be a normal, luxurious penthouse. But his idea of normal was walls lined with military crates instead of designer sofas. Piles of supplies nearly reaching the ceiling and rows of dry food. Water purifier, medical kit, and ammo man. All of that made that luxury place look like a survival maze. Lin Zhao gives a sly smile, saying that this time revenge is excellent, but precise. We then see 3 weeks earlier, when he suddenly wakes up sweating. He puts his hand on his chest, wondering what happened. As far as he remembers, he had just lost consciousness after being struck. But before he could focus on what went down, suddenly the little system window pops up for the bastard, something that was only visible to him. The system of the survivor's sea of talents. Before he could even understand what that was, the first ability is acquired. He gains the technopathy talent and starts wondering what the heck that is. The system explains it was the ability to control electronic devices even without power. It was kind of a skill to hack anything and at the same time turn on devices. The guy's Chinese, and if there's one thing he knows, it's systems. Right away, the pieces fall into place and he smiles. Being able to control electronics without energy would give him a huge advantage in the chaos that was coming. His phone then shows the date, exactly 1 month before the flood apocalypse arrives. And he doesn't waste a single second. Before lunch, the bastard had already created countless bank accounts and taken out loans wherever possible. Not only did he take loans under his name, but also under Xiao King's, his future girlfriend who betrayed him. The money came fast, and soon he'd have enough to start assembling his arsenal. The problem is, not long after, when he left home to start his plans, he ran into them. Xiao King was already standing out front, arms crossed, and an angry face. Next to her was Shou Jing, her brother, like a watchdog. With a fake tone and pretending to care, she asks where Lin Zhao is heading off to Sora like that. Our boy stares at Xiao King and her brother. Seeing their faces triggered countless memories. He sees himself 2 years in the future, inside the apocalypse. The water had already come, along with the creatures, and most of the city had been destroyed. There were monsters on the loose and floods were a regular thing. On one of the few days when the water had receded a bit, Lin Zhao went out to search for supplies. On the way, his phone rings. Shou Jing, his voice calls out, saying there were people going into the apartment to steal the supplies and he had to come back. Right away, Lin Zhao runs back in desperation and opens the apartment door. But before he can understand what's happening, something hits him square in the back of the neck. His vision starts to go dark in a matter of seconds, and just before passing out, he manages to turn around, just enough to see Mao Ji and Xiao Jing laughing together while Xiao King watched from the side. Her cold eyes made it clear she was part of it all. The memory fades, and back in the present, he's staring at the two who would betray him in the future. Xiao Xing once again asks what's going on. She wants to know why she's getting a bunch of messages saying someone is taking out loans in her name. Lin Zhao stays calm and says his account got hacked. Seems like someone got both their info, and he's heading to the bank now to fix it. Right then, Xiao Jing yells and grabs Lin Zhao by the collar, saying he's lying, asking if he really thinks they're dumb enough to believe he'd do something like that. But just as he goes to say Lin Zhao isn't leaving until he sorts it out of nowhere, he takes a fist right to the mouth man. The precision was perfect, as skill developed during the survival times. Xiao Jing twists all weird and collapses unconscious on the ground. Right then, the sister screams in despair, asking if Lin Zhao has lost his mind. But he just adjusts his coat and asks if she really thinks that's madness. She better get ready because she had no idea how insane this world was going to get. Then he turns around and walks off, leaving the fool kneeling next to her brother. He catches the first bus and heads to a half-ruined building on the edge of the city. From the outside, anyone would say the place was abandoned. Peeling paint, dusty windows, and no one in sight. But he walks up to the door, knocks 3 times, pauses, and then knocks twice more. Of course, he knew exactly how to get to the black market. Suddenly, a crack opens in the door and someone simply asks for the code. Lin Zhao just says that he saw the Azure Dragon. With that, the door opens, and inside, weapons line the walls. However, our boy isn't trying to draw attention since he just came back. He picks a simple pistol, reliable, silenced, and basic. He paid with the money from the loans and tucked the weapon inside his coat without saying a word. Next, he went to a luxurious real estate agency with floor-to-ceiling windows. The broker was startled when Lin Zhao said he wanted to sell his apartment right then and there. The offer was 25% below market value. It would be easy for the guy to make that profit back. The negotiation barely lasted. The agent knew he could take that apartment, sell it closer to market price, and make a 20% profit overnight. The only condition Lin Zhao made was that he'd stay a few more days in the place before moving out so they could sell it. The profit opportunity was too good, so the guy just accepted, and our boy left. Walking through the streets, he wondered why he didn't use his technopathy powers to try transferring money directly into his account. The problem was that the world was still organized, and if they trace him, things would get complicated. For now, he preferred to keep a low profile. Why take the risk when he knew each of the numbers that were going to be drawn? He remembered that lottery game very well, since it was just a few days before the deluge destroyed everything. So he heads to a lottery store. Obviously, he fills it out with extreme confidence, and the clerk even finds it a bit strange, but says nothing. On the way back, you can already sense someone watching him from afar. 2 masked guys in dark clothes just observing. He's sure they're goons, either from Xiao Jing or Mao Ji. Even though they weren't amateurs, his senses were way too sharp for that. He makes it home safely, but now he knows he's being watched. The next morning, Lin Zhao calls a certain number while his eyes are fixed on the TV, where they're talking about the melting of the ice caps. The person picks up, and right away he says he wants to rent a storage unit on Jinling Street, that giant one near Palace 104, and he needs it for today. The guy decides to throw out a high price that would make anyone hesitate, but Lin Zhao just says he'll transfer the money because he wants access today. With that, he hangs up, grabs his laptop, and starts buying various supplies. Canned goods, dry food, military-grade gear, and a water filter. He needed items with a shelf life of years, not months. And as always, he pays extra for immediate delivery. But when he leaves the house, the 2 guys are once again watching Lin Zhao hop into a taxi. One of them warns over the phone that the kid just left. On the other end, Xiao Jing orders them to follow him and not lose track this time. So they tail him all the way to the industrial district and see him unlocking a massive warehouse. Trucks keep arriving, unloading piles of supplies. The day is long, and by night, the goons call back telling Xiao Jing they found the kid's stash. He was stocking up on tons of food. Weirdly, there was lots of military stuff too. Right away, Xiao Jing tells them to break into the place and find out what he's up to. The guys say, all right, but say the pay better be worth it this time. When night falls, they break in through one of the side doors. As soon as they're inside, they see rows and rows full of supplies. One of them whispers that there's enough food in here to last years and years. Another takes a look and sees medical kits, a filter, and instantly decides to call Xiao Jing. He picks up on the first ring, listens to what they say, and already tells them to burn everything down. The guys just say, understood, and go get fuel, already pouring liquid everywhere. What they didn't notice is that, from the moment they stepped inside, there were cameras recording everything. And at the apartment, Lin Zhou's phone rings with a message. Invasion alert. He calmly slips the silenced pistol into his coat and heads out. The warehouse was silent when he entered through one of the secret doors. Unnoticeable and quiet, he approaches easily. Years of survival where noise meant death had taught him to be extremely cautious. The first one, poor guy, didn't even know what hit him, man. A silenced shot was muffled. The second one turned as the body dropped. But Lin Zhao was already there too, man. 2 more shots and it was over. The poor guys didn't even get a chance. Our boy just drags them to the back of the warehouse and digs a hole, throws them in, covers them with dirt, and puts a tarp over it. That spot was bound to flood first when the water rose. No one would ever even find this place. The following week, the warehouse just kept filling up. Every morning, Lin Zhao showed up early to train. He kept his body in shape because he knew what was coming. Meanwhile, Xiao Jing was pacing back and forth inside the apartment, wanting to know where those bastards had gone. Apparently, that scumbag had betrayed him, abandoned the mission, and now they were ignoring him. The